Hi everyone, so for this abstract piece of art, first thing we need to do is we need to write our name and flip. Perfect, so we're going to be working with our paper for facing horizontally, which means the short side and the short sides are facing the left and the right. First thing that we're going to do is we need to do a hamburger fold from one corner to the other corner, which means I'm lining up the short edges. What I like to do is I like to make sure the corners are in the perfect spot, slide my hand, and then push that seam down. This is the same as a birthday card. If you fold it up long side to long side, it looks like a hot dog bun. We don't want that, we want hamburger bun. Once you have this fold, you're gonna do the same fold again. So you're gonna fold it hamburger one more time, lining up those edges, push that seam down. This should be as perfect as possible because we want even looking sections. So when you open this up, you'll see 4 different sections that you made with your folds. 1, 2, 3, and 4. In each section, you're gonna do a pattern. In each section, you're gonna use the same colors, but do a different line pattern. So what I mean by that, if I did straight line here, wavy line here, zigzag line here, and bubble line here, I will still be using the same colors. So when you pick your colors, what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick 3 to 5 different colors. These colors will not change, so make sure that you pick the colors that you like. So using the colors that I have, I'm gonna create a pattern in section number 1. If it helps to fold your paper so that you can only see section 1, you can do that to help you out a little bit. But what you're gonna do is start your pattern. And what I like to do too is I like to line up my markers so I know what my pattern is. And then I just pick up my markers in order. So for my first section, I'm gonna do diagonal lines only in this section. So I'm gonna start my pattern. Notice how I'm going to it. I'm not going past that fold line. So when I get to that fold, I stop. You don't want this pattern to go out of this section. Okay, you can see that my first section is done. I kept the pattern and I kept the line. But for our next section, you are keeping the color pattern, but picking a different line. So for this one, I did diagonal lines. For this one, I'm just gonna do straight vertical lines. Same color pattern, but then just changing the line. So it will look something like this. Same pattern, different line. Okay, so as I finish up and I get to that fold line, I'm just gonna stop with this color pattern. Same thing again in section 3, same color pattern, different line. Depending on the type of line that you're doing too, you're gonna have to imagine that that line is going off of your section, because right here, I see that green is my next color in my pattern. Blue comes after that, and I'm only allowed to do this much because my fold is right here and I can't go past the fold. So the more complicated your lines are, the more you might have to just think about what line will come next. And then for my last section, same thing, keep the pattern, different line. Okay, all my 4 sections are done. Notice how I tried to fill up each section as much as possible with that color. I tried to avoid using a lot of white spots. Next for this, we're gonna flip over our page and we need to make some ruler marks. So using your ruler, close to the top of the page, we're gonna make marks, and close to the bottom of the page, we're gonna make marks, and then we're gonna use those marks to draw some vertical lines. So to start, you're gonna put the edge of your ruler, which is 0, on the left side of your paper and make sure it's facing horizontally. You don't want it to be tipping any direction because then your measurements will be off. You will notice that your paper is 11 inches. Then using a pencil, at every inch, you're gonna make a dot. So where the 1 is, make a dot. Where the 2 is, make a dot. 3, and all the way down the ruler. Perfect. You'll notice how my dots aren't too big, but they aren't too small where you can't see them. Then slide your ruler down towards the bottom of the page, so about an inch from the bottom, and you're gonna do the exact same thing. Line 0 up on the left side, 11 will be on the right side. At every inch, put a dot. Beautiful. Now we're gonna play a game of connect the dots. First dots, you're gonna line your ruler up to them. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to put my pencil on the first dot, push the ruler up to my pencil so it can't move anymore, and then I line it up with the second dot on the bottom. The edge of the ruler is where your line will be. So just draw a nice straight vertical line. And I went back and forth a couple times just to make sure that line was dark enough. Go to dot 2, do the same thing. Go to dot 3, line them up. You're gonna do this 10 times all the way across the page. Perfect, so you should end up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines going across your page. Okay, our next step is to cut along the lines. Just a reminder with our scissors, your thumb goes in the little hole, your helper fingers go in the big hole. Usually 2 or 3 fingers fit really nicely. Best thing for this cutting is to go slow. Little baby cuts very slowly. You're gonna cut along the line that you drew. And notice how I'm doing little tiny snips so that I don't get those jagged cuts. That's what we want. Once you have one cut done, go to the next line. Okay, so I have all of my pieces cut out. I'm gonna flip them all over, and essentially what you did is you just created a puzzle that you're gonna put back together, but wrong. So to rearrange your pieces, what you're gonna do is rearrange them, but not in the right order. So what I mean by right order is by these originally started next to each other. I don't want them next to each other in my final. So before we start gluing these to our final papers, what I'd like you to do is find a really good arrangement. You can turn pieces, you can swivel pieces, you can put them next to different pieces. The shape that you're going to get is going to be that original rectangle shape that you had. So take a couple minutes to rearrange your pieces into a new design that you like. Okay, for the last part, what we're gonna do is we are gonna glue our pieces to a background color paper. Pick a color that would look nice if there was a little bit of color showing through your strips of paper. Helpful hint with gluing, because we already know the order that we're gluing in. You can do 2 strips at a time just by putting all the glue on your paper. Usually we wouldn't do something like this, but since the paper is going to be completely filled, you can do it on this. Just make sure when you're gluing, those strips of paper are nice and even and straight vertical, and working slowly as I go along. To get a nice firm glue grip, you can flip it over and then press it from the back. And since we don't have our name on this piece of paper, make sure you rewrite it. And then when you flip it over, you can see where you may need more glue. Make sure none of these corners of these pieces are sticking up. So if you need more glue, just add more glue. This part makes your piece look a little bit better. So what I'm gonna do is just cut off that little bit of border off the side. Perfect, and my piece is complete. When you upload it to Arsona, you can turn it anyway and just double check to make sure that your name is on the back.